Hey, so it's Dana LeRae. I'm gonna give it to you all straight, like I always do. I had a relative call me this morning. They had a lot of unfortunate news. No one's dead, nothing crazy, but there was just a lot of things going on in the family that were kind of like, you know, life pains, growing, learning, right? Being that individual, we're talking about different things, and a subject came up that was so intriguing that I never knew about this person. So when they were talking to me, they let me know that when they were about 8 or 9 years old, they had their first experience with alcohol. When I was talking to her, it intrigued me because she told me that when she was younger, her parents didn't drink, her grandparents didn't drink. The only time she saw alcohol in the household was when guests came and her father would run to get a case of beer. Now, for reference, this family member was born in 1950, so we're talking quite a few, generations ago. Her parents would be, of course. As I'm listening to her, she told me that when she was 8 years old, around that age, they were having guests and her father got beers like he normally did, and she tried to sneak one. She got a little sip of one, and then they were, of course, like, absolutely not, you can't drink, you're 8 years old. And she was just like, whatever, just a bad little kid, I guess. She told me that from a very young age, she's always been fascinated with alcohol. I was like, but alcohol's so nasty. She was like, well, I never felt that way. And I'm like, so when you sipped the beer at 8, you weren't grossed out? And she's just like, no. And I'm like, okay. And she was like, actually, to add nuance to my point, when she turned 9, her parents, to try to teach her a lesson from trying to sneak the beer, they gave her her own beer at 9 years old. She drank the whole thing down. It was perfectly fine. Like, I don't know if she was lit. I don't know. She just explained to me that nothing happened and she wasn't complaining. She wasn't throwing up, and her parents kind of did one of these, like, okay, that backfired on us. Maybe we shouldn't get this baby no alcohol because obviously there's something in her that's not, she didn't learn a lesson. So I thought that was so fascinating. It really made me think. And the reason why it made me think so much is because I made a decision about a year ago from today that I was going to give up alcohol for an entire year. When I decided to give up alcohol a year ago, it wasn't on the premise of I'm just out here just drinking way too much and I don't need to drink and it's causing too many problems in my life. I just made the conscious decision to give up alcohol because I felt like when I started drinking, I've never really stopped. I started drinking before the legal age of 21. I was a little bad. I was a little rebellious. I liked to do stuff and get into nonsense back in my heyday. I remember the first time, I think I was around 18, when me and my sibling decided that we were going to take something off of my grandmother's bar. Now, my grandparents raised me, and my grandmother in our library, in our home, has a bar, a fully stocked bar. Let me add that. It's just an assortment of alcohols. And I remember the night vaguely because me and my sibling were like, you know what? We finna dip on her bar and we finna have a drink and then we finna go outside and be grown. Like, I don't know what we were trying to emulate. If anybody knows my grandmother, she kept some Tanqueray on the bar. For those of you that don't know what Tanqueray is, it's a gin. If there's anything in this world you shouldn't start your journey with alcohol with, it would be gin, in my opinion. So me and my sibling grabbed that green. It was a handle to add injury to insult. We ripped it off the bar and we was like, let's get turned up. I don't know what made us do this. I remember we were drinking it. I think we were drinking it straight, which is so alarming. Don't know how I made it back into the home. Apparently, sources say, because this is how crazy it was, we went to a club in the south suburbs of Chicago. If you know, you know. It's called Mr. Ricky's. That was an 18 and up club. We went there, we were tore off. I think I lasted all of 30 minutes before I went into the bathroom and was like puking. And my sibling was there kind of like holding my hair back because at that time my hair was long. And somehow, some way, I ended up contacting my best friend, Camille, and telling her like, we don't know where we are and we need to go home. This is why I don't encourage drinking, period. Me and my sibling ended up getting into a car with a random man. God bless his soul. And the whole time, I was in the back of the car like this. My sibling was in the front. I do remember bits and pieces of the night, and she was talking to him like, yeah, we just got to get home. Like, we just, we drank too much. And he's just like, nah, I get it. Like, this man is just a nice civilian, to my knowledge. And what happens is my friend Camille ends up pulling up with one of our male friends and taking us out the car and getting me all the way, me and my sibling back home. They literally used my key, carried me upstairs to my room, put me in my bed. Mind you, my grandparents are asleep while all this is happening. And my sibling gets placed in the library of my home. The next morning, she's woken up by the housekeeper. She called her in the library, and my sibling was covered in puke. When she went upstairs to check on me, I was just in my bed, sound asleep. No throw up, just passed out. They woke me up and they were like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, what happened last night? So I was the type to black out and not remember a thing. And my sibling was semi-conscious but woke up covered in puke. So that is the beginning of my journey of alcohol. Now, I don't know how everybody else started, but from there, things went left. I remember a very fond memory of so many times where I was intoxicated and I made decisions that would have never been made had I been sober. I've been into fights, all intoxicated, may I add. I've gotten in trouble with the law, some intoxicated. I've gotten into really bad arguments with some of my closest friends, intoxicated. When I made this decision a year ago to give up alcohol, it had nothing to do with all these things that had happened prior, even though they all sound like very valid reasons, am I right? I remember sitting in my room a year ago, and I was still in Chicago at the time, and I remember going out the night before, right? I'm a social drinker. I don't drink at the house. When I'm alone, I have no reason to drink, but when I go out, it's time to turn up. So I remember going out the night before, having a really good night, right? But the next morning, I remember waking up and there was so many things on my to-do list. I had to work out. I'm an avid yoga girl. I had to do a bunch of orders that was on my website. I had a bunch of personal things to take care of. I had, at the time, clients calling me for organization. And I just remember looking at my cell phone and feeling so overwhelmed because I was trying to fight the hangover that I had in my head. It was thumping. You know how you wake up sometimes and you just want to go back to sleep for the whole day? That's how bad it was. But the amount of things that I had to address on my phone, I just knew I couldn't just pass back out. And I remember in that moment thinking like, my life has finally caught up to me to the point where I actually can't afford to have a hangover. I cannot afford to take an entire day to myself unplanned. I cannot afford to miss out on what's important because I drank too much the night before. This is the literal conversation that was going through my head. And when I kept replaying it, I was thinking to myself, like, you know what? This is not gonna work for the next phase of your life. It's time for you to let go of drinking. Like, it's not that deep. You don't crave alcohol. You're not, somebody that feels like it validates you in any type of way. So give it up. Come back to it when you feel like you have the time and space to receive it. So surprisingly, one of my mentors told me, when you give up something that is a vice, and I'm not saying that alcohol was a vice for me, but it certainly wasn't a pro. When you give up a vice, you gain the next step in your journey. And when they said that to me, it really resonated, because this is not a video to bash anyone that drinks. This is not a video to say, I'm better than you, I don't drink. Like, none of that fake shit. It's one of those videos to be like, had I not given up something that really didn't serve me in the first place, I would have never realized how much I didn't even need it. And I think about the fact that when I socially drink, I'm always out. Now that I don't drink alcohol, I rarely am in an environment where it's required. Because this is just me personally, but alcohol always fuels the fun when I'm in a club or when I'm in a bar or when I'm at a party. And I realized since I gave it up, I'm not really in those environments anymore, which is okay. But when I do find myself in those environments, I'll have a mocktail, and I realize that the stimulation I used to get from those environments aren't the same anymore. Because I found that out, I can't tell you how many thousands of dollars I've saved. Now, when I used to go out, obviously, there's perks to being beautiful. You get drinks, but there's still outfits, haircut, nails, like things get paid for. Like I do those things anyway, but if I'm going out, I'm really finna be spiffy. All that money, put somewhere else. Put it into being a creative. Put into my paying off my car early. Put into my shea butter brand. Like I've really noticed not drinking has done a few things, but my budget, that guap, it stays in my pocket like never before. And I never realized when I drink and I'm going out, I'm gonna pay to have the fun. I'm not waiting on a drink from nobody. But if it comes, that's nice. But I'm put this card on the tab, get us a hookah, let's go find somewhere we can sit. That is very much the existence at this age that I live. So cheers to lemon water. That in itself, saving money has been a true blessing. The second thing that I noticed is that my athletic game, I never have to worry about waking up and missing a session. I never have to worry about booking a class and being like, damn, I can't really make it because I'm dehydrated or I got a hangover. That never happens. I'm just so consistent with my classes. I'm in a yoga class. I'm in an intense interval training class. I'm going on a hike. I went on a hike this morning. I never have to fear that sluggish energy of the next day of feeling that regret of being like, I can't actively move my body. The third thing, as soon as I gave up drinking, I aligned myself with people that were non-drinkers as well. But more importantly, they had a lot more to offer me than the people that I had aligned with in the past. I don't know if it's because when you upgrade your decisions, you upgrade your environment as far as what you attract. But frequency-wise, I'm in rooms where I'm like, I wasn't in this room when I was drinking, and I don't want to put it all to not drinking alcohol, but it speaks volumes that it happened the moment I decided to give it up. Now that I never really have the distraction of what alcohol brings, I'm laser sharp as far as deadlines. It's like, wait a minute, I said I was gonna have this done by this time. I said I was gonna do this when I was supposed to do this. And now things are just getting done seamlessly because the distraction of going out is not there. The hangover is not there. And more importantly, this is the last thing that I'm gonna say about not drinking, and this can be a little controversial because it may just not be my season for this, but I have not dated seriously since I gave up alcohol. I've gotten offers, I've gotten people saying like, hey, let's go out, let's go have a drink. But the moment I text them, it's like bringing a cross to a vampire. They be like they be over it. I don't know if it's because they are relying on the alcohol to do something for them on the date, or I don't know if they just not serious and they wanted a fun girl. But not having alcohol in the dating scene, not having alcohol has brought that bag. It has brought focus. It has brought endless routine. It has brought deadlines being met. What I lost was dating, spending my money on going out and being in the party scene. I can't really say that this choice is for everybody, but the year's been up and I'm still on this wave. I'm not saying I'll never drink alcohol again, but it would have to be me popping a bottle of champagne. Like I met this real cold goal and it's time to celebrate. But other than that, when life is so good without something, how do you bring it back? I mean, it's literally so meaningless now that I think about it. And I know this is not for everybody. I just wanted to be authentic and share with you all how my life has truly blossomed since alcohol has not been a part of it. Like I said, if it resonates, take it. If you think it's your time to try something new, try it. If it doesn't, keep drinking. I mean, I'm not saying that drinking is a bad thing. It's just that it truly didn't bring anything to my life that was worth keeping. I hope this helps somebody because it helped me. I love you all. I'll see you all next episode. And until then, I'm sending you all my love and all my light. Peace.